Hey there, want to talk to you a few minutes about how RecLand prices its listings that you may see on our website or some of our other advertising. And I apologize if the videos are maybe a little bumpy. I'm flying down the road here somewhere in East Texas. I've gotten asked numbers of times, I can't remember how many times over the years of RecLand, how we go about pricing our listings. And the assumption is that RecLand puts prices on all the stuff that you see, and nothing can be further from the truth. I've gotten these questions most of the time from legitimate people truly looking to figure out the value on things, so that they're looking to buy something but they don't want to overpay, and I get that. They'll just have a genuine interest in understanding value. I've also gotten that question from people on social media and emails that are just straight up goofballs. You can always tell because they make some accusation about how we're pricing things out of the market and it's our fault land prices are skyrocketing. It's usually some sentence like that, and they're just kooks. And if that's you, there you are. But most people aren't like that, but some are. And in the old days, I used to engage those people until I got better sense. I'd go, well, listen, what do you think a place is worth? And that's when things get real silent. Those people that start off that way, they're not interested in buying anything. When it comes to making a formal written offer and signing their name and sending a deposit check into the escrow account, all of these land experts and that pricing experts suddenly get lockjaw and go away. So that's why I know they're goofballs. They're not serious. They're just keyboard warriors making noise. But anyway, that aside, the way land gets priced on RecLand, I'll kind of tell you the process. Somebody calls us and wants us to list their tract. First thing we do is we go tear it apart. That tear it apart is just my language for go and understanding the tract. Understand all the details about a tract, tear it apart, put it all together, and come up with what we think is a fair market value range. And just as an example, somebody wants me to list their tract, and I go tear it apart and get all the comp information I can. I look at all of our internal sales. I look at tracts that we know have sold. A lot of times I'll get information from bank sources that I have contacts with. They give me their comps. Pull together all this information, present the seller with a range. Hey, we think it'll sell over a reasonable time on the market, $1,600 to $1,800 an acre as a scenario. Well, the seller then has that information, what we think, and a lot of times they'll then go, hey, well, listen, what do we need to do? I really want to sell it. Well, I say, well, then let's ask X for the property. And X is sort of irrelevant. Whether we ask 1900, 1910, 1827 an acre is sort of irrelevant. I normally take my market range and add $150, $200 an acre to the top end of that range as the asking price. So in this scenario, $1,600 to $1,800 an acre market value range, I'd say let's ask 1950, 1925, 1975, 1995. That asking price, whatever makes you happy, it's irrelevant. My suggestion is don't ask 2,000. If we truly are agreement on that market range, let's go with 19 something as opposed to 2,000 something. Sounds better. At the end of the day, it's sort of irrelevant as long as it's a little bit more than the high end of the range and the seller agrees to it. A lot of times they'll sign a list agreement, got a listing, up we go, and those tracts do well because they're priced reasonably. They've got a legitimate asking price on a piece of property. It's close to the market value. I'll make an offer and we'll usually get a deal. The problem sometimes comes when that same property that we say is worth $1,600 to $1,800 an acre, and a lot of times we're pretty sure on what an asking price or what a value is because we've sold so many tracts, certain types of property in certain places. At the end of the day, they're all different, but they're similar enough that we know what's going to sell for what most of the time. So you take that same tract, $1,600, $1,800 an acre, and go to the seller with the information. He goes, well, I tell you what, I want to ask $2,900 for it or $3,000. Well, suddenly, what was realistic a minute ago is now become unrealistic. And if we're real sure about the tract and what we know is going to be at the end of the day the market value, and somebody wants to ask this ridiculously unrealistic number, a lot of times we just pass and go, hey, that just won't work for us. We'll be nice about it, but we're going to be honest. That's just way more than it's worth. People are not going to buy it. They're not going to be interested. So we'll just pass. Thank you very much. There are other people who'll probably be glad to help you. There are times, however, where we're not sure about the market value. Now, we'll still give a range, but that range will be an opinion of, hey, this is the best information we could find. These are the best comps we could find. This is the closest we could get to really seeing what the property is worth. But at the end of the day, there's so many unique features. It's so unusual. The improvements are too diverse or too unique that it's hard to really nail down a good market value with certainty. Now, there are people that will arrogantly say, oh, yes, it'll be X. Well, I can't go that far, because at the end of the day, I don't know on some things like that. It's a one-of-a-kind property. It's, these improvements are so unique. It's this, it's that, it's the other. And for me to arrogantly say it's going to be just X on something that's a one-of-a-kind, unique gem or something, I can't do that. I'll give them my opinion, and then I'll say, hey, but I could be missing this a good bit. So in that scenario, let's ask X for it. Let's push that asking price far enough out there that we're not leaving any money on the table. If somebody comes along and truly falls in love with it, sees the unique nature of it, they've been looking for this one-of-a-kind property forever, now they found it, they want it, and that way we can get that higher number or out there in that range, and the seller doesn't leave money on the table. That's a good plan, in my opinion. And I'll give you a scenario where I learned this and it became real to me. A number of years ago, one of my agents had a 30-acre tract that a seller wanted us to sell. We put our heads together, we tore it apart. I got involved in it quite a bit, considering it was one of my agent's listings. I really did a lot of research and pulled numbers together. He did as well. The comps, the information, all the stuff we could find on this property, which was extremely unique. The only thing we could come up with was, we think, hey, it's probably going to sell somewhere in maybe between $8,000 and $9,000 an acre. It was a 30-acre peninsula in a lake, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was probably a one-of-a-kind property on the planet. It was unique, to say the least, and really nice, and in my opinion, very desirable. So we told the seller, hey, $8,000 to $9,000 is the only thing that the data supports, but we can be wrong. This is such a cool property. Let's really push that asking price out there, see what happens, with the understanding that if that asking price is just so out of whack with what the market's telling us over time, let's just start easing it down till we find a sweet spot. Everybody liked that plan. Short story, we put it out there for, if my memory is right, a little over $17,000 an acre. A couple months later, it closed for just over $15,000 an acre. 15 on a tract that the data said should only be $8,000 to $9,000. But because I'm humble enough to know that I don't know everything, I said, hey, on a tract like this isn't just your straight up 80-acre timberland tract in northeast Louisiana. This one's got such a unique nature to it. I can be wrong on my opinion. Let's push it out there. And sure enough, the guy got double what we thought he would probably get according to what the data said he should get. So with that said, I've learned that lesson, that some properties are so unique that we push that asking price out there and the seller agrees, let's do that. And sometimes that works out, and that's truly the right thing to do. Other times it's not. And you may see a property listed on RecLand.net or some of our other sites and go, my goodness, this is the most obscene asking price I've ever seen. It very well could be. It could be part of that type of scenario where the plan is, hey, if that's not working, we're going to stair-step it down. But it could be like that 30-acre deal that you just don't want it. You don't want to pay that much for it, but somebody truly does. That same thing can also work the other direction. I had a tract probably 6 years ago, maybe 7, right when I started RecLand, and I was hustling around for every piece of business I could find. Large tract, about 2,000 acres. These people called, wanted to sell it. I went and tore the place apart, spent all day, top to bottom, east to west, got all kinds of information, really dug into it. And at the end of the day, I told them, hey, here's the market value, it's this. Well, they said they wanted about $2,000 an acre more than my market value, which was about twice what I thought it was worth. And they were real firm on that. And I go, folks, as much as I'd like your business, and this is a great tract, big listing for our new company, I said, I feel like I'm pretty good, but I'm not that good. So I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm just not that good. I remember saying it that way to them. Well, short story, everybody else thought they were that good. And over the years, next 5 or 6 years, everybody had that place listed at that ridiculous asking price. Not long ago, I personally sold that tract to someone right in the top end of that range that I told them 5 or 6 years ago. It was a cool tract, but it wasn't so unique that it was worth double what I knew the market value was on it. So a lot of times buyers will get realistic on things when time starts staring them in the face saying, hey, you're just dead wrong. So when we list a piece of property, we always give an opinion of an asking price, of what we think the value is and what we suggest the asking price is. When it's all said and done, the seller, the owner, decides what to ask on a piece of property. So when you say, why in the world is RecLand asking this for that? Well, RecLand is not. We did not put that price on there. We may have suggested a price and the owner went with it. We suggested a price and the owner went with this one. But at the end of the day, it's the seller who signs off on what they want the asking price to be and how they want that thing advertised. It's 100% their decision. And they may be making that decision against everyone else's advice, but it's their call. So RecLand doesn't price anything. And RecLand isn't setting prices out there for anybody's land. It's 100% the owner. You may go to our website, look down through listings there and see properties and you go, why in the world has it got that out? I mean, look what they're asking for that. You may be dead right. It could be just a ridiculous number and they have put that number on there, maybe against better judgment or against other people's opinion, but we've taken the listing for various reasons, and those reasons are our business. Maybe it's an old client we've done a lot of business with, we're in business with another way, could be some kind of marketing plan. There's a number of reasons that we take listings at an asking price far above what we'd suggest. Well, that's our business. If you see a piece of property, however, that you want, that you've got interest in, that fits your needs, regardless of what the asking price is, do your research and figure out what a place is worth, find that value yourself, and make an offer based on that. And you'll be surprised, well, some of you won't, how many times a realistic offer and an unrealistic asking price can find their way together. Because sometimes that's what a seller needs is somebody, a reasonable person making a reasonable, formal offer who's putting their money where their mouth is on a piece of property, and the seller realizing, hey, if I want to sell this thing, I got to get my mind right. You know, everybody's saying it's only worth X. A guy's actually offering me X, and I need to get realistic about it. And those deals come together more times than you think. Not always, but a whole lot of times. You've heard it said, I've heard it said my whole real estate life is offers make things happen. So just remember that as a buyer. And also too, when you see people's listings out there, whether it's RecLand's or any other company you're looking at, just know that they are not setting those prices. It's the seller, it's the owner of that property who is saying, I want to ask X for my listing, and I'm signing my name to that, and that real estate company, that agent, that broker, are simply going with what the seller is requiring to be done. Now, why they take those high listings, again, that's their business. They've got their own motivations or reasonings, but it's the seller who puts the price on there and says, I want to ask X for it. So anyway, just some information there. Get out there, make some offers, make some deals. You'll be surprised what happens when you put your money and your signature where your mouth is on deals. Bye.